Hi, hello. Now we will see about Angular forms. Forms are very important and those are very crucial and those are very complicated. So it is very important to know about the forms. Forms are very important in our daily life. Suppose if you want to prepare one front-end application, for any front-end application without forms, there will not be any application. So form can be login form, form can be sign up form, form can be anything. It is like a application, like filling of the online application. That is also one kind of form, and it will be always consisting of the huge logic. So one place at the front end, we are performing one action, and that those details will be saved at the back end. So these forms are very essential for any of the application, and about that forms we will come to know in Angular how we are going to develop and how we are going to achieve. And here the important points, like the form inputs are meant to modify both on the front end page and server side. So form is representing for the we are going to develop, and whatever the logic we are going to implement, that would be reflected at a backend server. Suppose the user wants to save some information in the backend server. So with the help of a form, he can fill the details, and those details would be saved at the backend. That is called a server side, and changes often need to reflect elsewhere in the page. Suppose in a form we are performing at a first field and the output would reflect at a 10th field. So elsewhere on the page it would reflect. And sometimes users can enter any meaningless information, but that time form should be in a position to validate, and it should warn to the user, you have entered incorrect information, please enter valid information. Like that, some validations also form should be in a position to validate. That means we need to write such kind of validations, and UI form should be in a position to state the expectations of that form. Suppose you are preparing login form, it should not look like a sign up form. And if you are preparing as a sign up form or a subscription form, it should not look like a login form. At the same time, if any errors, it should be handled. And obviously, dependent fields can have complex logic. So all those features Angular form will be able to handle by the form controls and validators, observers. There are two fundamental objects in Angular. One is form control, another one is form group. So let us see about the form control. So form control, it represents a single input field. It is the smallest unit of Angular form. Suppose in a form only you are having only one field, like a name of the field you want to display. Suppose if a particular user logged in and want to say welcome, hi user welcome, or logged in username. So something like that, you are having only one form field. Then you have to use the form control. But imagine if you are having multiple fields, so you have to use as the form group. So for form control, it is the example like suppose how we are going to define in the Angular. Let name field equal to new form control and Srini. So this here one new field using new keyword you are going to create the object. You are creating the object and you are assigning the value as Srini, and that value will be at a name field. And when you want to retrieve name field dot value, that means name consisting of a Srini. So in HTML, what you are going to define, input type equal to text, form control equal to name. So you will be able to see Srini in your HTML. But this is only for the single field. Suppose if it is multiple fields, then you will be having a form group. You have to use form group. So most forms have more than one field. So we need to manage multiple form controls. and it is cumbersome when you want to use arrays. So arrays is not possible, and for that in Angular you need to use form group. So example, suppose person. So person always having person name, person first name, last name, and address, zip code, age, salary. Several attributes will be there for a person. So whenever such kind of multiple values, you have to use the form group. At the same time, for single field we are using form control. So for single field you have to use as the form control inside the form group, so that collectively, so collection of a single form controls will make it as one person information object. So that is what let person info equal to new form group, file name equal to new form control, and first name is entered, last name is entered, and zip code is entered. Like this, you need to define for the form groups. So in order to achieve this forms, like what you need to do in Angular. So step one. So what do you need to do for this step one? So for forms, form controller, form group, you want to use. Suppose in your Angular application, somebody asked to develop as a form. First and foremost, you need to load form module and reactive form modules. So form modules are for a simple forms, but reactive forms, very complicated logic, can be handled using the reactive form module. So this is the first and foremost step you have to enter in the ng module, that is app.ts. So in order to use the new forms library, we need to first make sure we import the forms library. So that is a form module and reactive form module, so that your Angular is going to support. So that is the first step you have to do. And second step, in your HTML, you have to write the code. So this is the code you are going to write in your HTML. You can just copy paste, or you can pause the video and you can type in your HTML, and it would be like this. So you are going to use as the form control and reactive form modules, and form module you already loaded. Now if you loaded here means in HTML it would be automatically supported. So here in this form, first and foremost you need to define the form. After HTML you have to define the form as here form is there. So this form tag you need to define, and then form is the form of ng form. You have to define the ng form. When you define ng form, it is automatically followed by the ng submit as well. Ng submit will be followed the on submit. So this ng form will be stored at the form FRM. You can use hashtag FRM. Hashtag is the Angular specification. You can define hashtag a form. This is the object instance. So this whatever the actions are saved in ng form, and that ng form will be saved at hashtag form. So that whatever the form inside the input fields are holding the values, these values are carry forwarded to ng form, and that ng form will be carry forwarded to the Angular application TS. Our functional logic will be stored at the logic TS file. So that TS file will be taken care. So on submit frm dot value. So here you can see ng submit comes from the ng form, and on submit will be implemented. So ng submit is there means it will be automatically default on submit will be there. So ng submit, where this tag comes from means ng form, and here ng model will be there. One more important tag is ng model. For every input field there is ng model. So ng model directive stores a variable by reference, not value. So reference, it will pick the reference. So this ng model tag need to be defined in the input field, so that it would always refers the value, not the value. It will always refer the variable. It is not like a variable. So in this form, when you want to define the form, you have to refer these things. Next, and put it all together and submit. And once you submit, and it will go to the TS file where our main logic will be involved. So after that, if you run the application, you will be able to see this form. And this form is a very plain form because I did not add any of the CSS. If you can see class UI header, no CSS is implemented. Class UI form, no CSS implemented. And div class equal to field, no CSS is implemented. So like this form will be looking like. So go to application, you will be able to see whatever the definition. So first you need to define the form. Then you have to define ng submit on submit. So what you are going to submit? Username and password. For this label name we have to use label for we have to use like a text in what however the text is representing here text you will be able to see. So text username purpose, these are the labels. In a form we are calling as these are the labels. And this is the input type text, input type text. So first one is the username and second one is the password, and after that on submit login. So like this it will be defined. And input type, and these are the ID and placeholder is username and name is the reference name. So ng model will refer the variable, referring variable is name only. So name tag is mandatory and ID also mandatory. So when we want to validate validations, IDs would be very useful. So once this input type is defined for first field and second field, then here button type is submit, and here once submit is done, then immediately it would be triggered as the on submit. So this form is holding the value, this one frm. So frm dot value, once you submit the form it would be reaching to the respective here respective ts file. So component dot ts on submit, whatever the on submit you have defined it ts file, this is the on submit. If you can see, this is the on submit. Once the form is submitted and your submitted values will be able to see. So I am going to submit the value. So abc@gmail.com, and here password I am going to enter as 1234. Whether form is submitted or not, you will be able to see. So now I have clicked using F12. You can see, you will be able to see values. So here you can go here, you can see the values, whatever the values we have submitted. Console, we have to see the console. So submitted object is this one, and what we have submitted password is 1234, username abc@gmail.com. That means whatever you have entered the value, it reached here, your on submit is reached here, and you submitted the value. So you will be able to see you submitted the value. Here whatever, suppose for your doubt, here I can enter some@gmail.com, and here 1 2 3 4 5 6, and once again I am submitting, and again it would generate another object. If you see, another object will be invoked. Another object will be invoked. You can see again F12. So 3 times I have pressed, so 3 objects are generated, 1 2 3 5 6, and this one. So you can see this is how the form is working. So the first step, let me summarize. First step, you have to load. So where you have to load app.ts file, you have to load the module and reactive form module. So app.modules, I have loaded forms module, reactive form module. First step is done, and second step you have to prepare the HTML file. So that HTML file, this one works component.html, and form you have to define, and form followed by the form equal to ng form followed by the ng submit and on submit, and these are the input fields, and input fields are always followed by the ng model. So this ng model and on submit we need to do. Ng form and ng model is very important in the form. This is about the Angular form. In next session, we will see about other topics. Thank you.